I'm Berkman. I'm a PR consultant and I work as a travel writer. Well, I've lost over 70 kilograms. Sometimes a little more, sometimes it's always more than 70. At my biggest, I was 153 Ks. And at the time, I was a restaurant critic. I used to write for the Cape Times and other media. And it really was killing me. And I sat in front of my doctor and said, I can't go on a diet. I've tried every diet before, it's failed. Is there a solution? And he suggested I consider surgery. And in the process of planning that surgery, I heard an interview with Tim Noakes on the radio talking about this way of eating. And I decided there and then to cut my carbs and my sugars, and the weight just kind of came off. And so I was able to lose the weight without the surgery. I had a number of health issues that my obesity was complicating. I was type 2 diabetic and I already developed a very painful neuropathy in my leg because of the diabetes. I had high blood pressure, constant back pain. So these were some of the things that made me think, having tried diets before which hadn't worked for me, to always pick the weight up again, thinking that I must try something else, and the no carb, no sugar was the solution. I think I saw a change quite soon after starting. I think the first 3 months was the hardest in terms of getting over my addiction to carbohydrates and sugars, because I decided I would go completely cold turkey. And the weight came off quite quickly, really from day one. And I never put it back on again. As a restaurant critic and someone who wrote about food was my primary focus. And I decided that the only way that I was going to survive this big lifestyle change was to cut that. And I stopped writing about food and restaurants and focused on writing about travel. Obviously still doing PR, which was the bread and butter. Pardon the carbs. Those are the only carbs I have, is money in the form of bread and butter. It was a big change, a complete change. And I was actually prepared to live on steamed chicken breasts and broccoli, because I knew that that the way I was living was killing me. So to see a book like The Real Meal Revolution, which has these amazingly delicious recipes, many of which I've already prepared and cooked, it's like a godsend. It's like it does in my life. My life as a foodie doesn't have to end just because I'm not eating carbs and sugar. I mean, I think there are two big lessons. The one is that if you adopt this way of eating, it's an either or. You can't have a high fat, high protein food and have carbs and sugar. Because if you do, your weight is going to balloon. People don't seem to realize that. So, and I know that from my own experience that I can eat any amount of fat, literally wedges of cheese, bacon, whatever I feel like, butter and everything. And it has no impact on my weight. And the moment that I slightly increase my carbohydrates, my weight jumps. So for me, this is completely proven in terms of my own experience. I think that what is true in the world is that this idea of the balanced diet isn't working. Because if it were, the world wouldn't be faced with the obesity epidemic that it is, and people wouldn't be struggling with their weight. So the question is, well then, what works? This has worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but adopting this lifestyle has unquestionably saved my life. There are things I miss in terms of foods that I can't have anymore, choose not to have anymore, but I have so much more, so many other experiences, fitness and health that I never had. And I started talking about my diabetes and high blood pressure, and I have none of that now. I have no medication for either. The hardest thing to change in the world is yourself. And if you're able to, as I was, it's given me the strength to change other things. And I'm a high achiever, and I've been a high achiever even when I was fat. But I now really feel there's nothing that I can't do. That if there's something that I want to tackle, I have a renewed trust in my own ability because I've succeeded in changing my life. And that is incredibly empowering. I think if there's one lesson I'd like people to take, is that change is very difficult, but it's not impossible. I think we believe things about ourselves, and those beliefs can be limiting to the point that we actually don't allow ourselves to go for something because we believe that we can't do it. But we can do it.